For years, Rush fans believed one chapter had closed forever. After Neil Peart's passing in 2020, Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee repeatedly explained that Rush could never truly replace the legendary drummer. It seemed impossible to imagine the band playing together again. Then, something unexpected happened. A name started appearing in conversations among musicians: Anika Nilles. Known for her incredible technique, deep groove, and creative drumming, Nilles had already earned enormous respect in the music world. She wasn't famous because she copied Neil Peart. She became respected because she had built her own, completely original style. That distinction would become incredibly important. When Rush announced their return with the 50-something tour, many fans focused on one question: could anyone possibly sit behind Neil Peart's drum kit without it feeling wrong? Even Alex Lifeson wasn't looking for someone to imitate Neil. According to the band, they wanted a drummer who could honor the music while bringing her own personality to it. That's exactly why Anika Nilles stood out from everyone else. But the biggest turning point didn't happen on stage. It happened behind closed doors. The very first rehearsal between Alex Lifeson and Anika Nilles wasn't supposed to become a historic moment. There were no screaming fans, no cameras, no giant production. Just musicians walking into a rehearsal room carrying decades of history and an enormous amount of pressure. Nobody outside that room knew what was about to happen. For Alex, this wasn't just another rehearsal. It was the first real test of whether Rush's music could breathe again after years of silence. And for Anika, it may have been the most important session of her entire career. When Anika Nilles walked into the rehearsal room, she wasn't trying to become Neil Peart. She knew that was impossible. Later, she explained that before they even focused on the music, they spent time talking about Neil, his approach to drumming, his musical philosophy, and the standards he set for Rush. It wasn't about replacing him. It was about understanding the foundation he had built. Anika had prepared several Rush songs before flying to Canada. As the rehearsal began, she, Alex Lifeson, and Geddy Lee worked through those songs together. At first, everyone was feeling each other out. Alex and Geddy weren't looking for perfection on day one. They wanted to know whether the chemistry was real. There was another challenge. Anika had never been a devoted Rush fan growing up. Alex later admitted she was a little intimidated because she knew how much the band's music meant to millions of people. But in some ways, that worked in her favor. She approached every song as a musician first, carefully studying the arrangements instead of relying on memories from years of listening. She was, Guitar World. The first run-throughs weren't flawless. Rush's songs are packed with unusual rhythms, sudden tempo changes, and incredibly detailed drum parts. Alex even said that sitting down and playing the material again reminded him just how difficult these songs really are. Neil's parts were even more complex than they remembered. Still, something encouraging was happening. With every song, Anika grew more comfortable. The tension in the room slowly faded. Alex and Geddy began hearing more than technical skill. They heard confidence, musical instinct, and someone who truly respected the spirit of Rush without trying to imitate it. As the rehearsals continued, the focus shifted from simply getting through the songs to making them come alive again. For Alex Lifeson, that was the real test. Rush had always been more than three musicians playing difficult parts. The band was built on trust, communication, and the ability to react to one another in real time. If that connection wasn't there, even a technically perfect performance wouldn't feel like Rush. According to Alex, that connection started to develop surprisingly fast. Instead of stopping every few minutes to fix mistakes, the trio found themselves playing longer stretches without interruption. The music began to flow naturally, and that changed the atmosphere in the room. One reason was Anika's approach. Rather than copying every fill Neil Peart had ever played, she focused on preserving the character of each song. She kept the parts that fans would instantly recognize, but also allowed her own feel and dynamics to come through. That was exactly what Alex and Geddy had hoped for. They had made it clear from the beginning that they didn't want a tribute act. They wanted a musician who could respect Rush's legacy while still sounding authentic. Alex has often spoken about how much he values musicians who truly listen. During these rehearsals, Anika wasn't just counting beats or following a click track. She was responding to every guitar phrase and every bass line, creating the kind of musical conversation that had always been part of Rush's identity. Little by little, the pressure that filled the first rehearsal disappeared. In its place came something that hadn't existed for years: excitement. For the first time since Neil Peart's passing, Alex and Geddy weren't just remembering what Rush had been. They were discovering what these songs could become in a new chapter. As the rehearsals moved forward, Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee faced a question they had avoided for years. Was this simply an emotional experiment, or was it the beginning of something they could actually share with the world? The answer didn't come from a single dramatic moment. It came from consistency. Every rehearsal made the trio more comfortable. The songs felt tighter, transitions became smoother, and the confidence inside the room kept growing. According to Alex, what started as a cautious trial gradually turned into genuine excitement about playing together again. That didn't mean the emotional weight disappeared. Neil Peart's influence was everywhere. His compositions, his arrangements, and his unmistakable drumming remained at the heart of every Rush song. Alex and Geddy have both stressed that no one can replace Neil. Instead, their goal was to celebrate the music he helped create while allowing another exceptional musician to bring it back to life. Anika understood that responsibility from the very beginning. She wasn't trying to win over fans with flashy solos or by recreating every famous drum fill note for note. Her priority was serving the songs. That attitude earned the trust of Alex and Geddy because it reflected the same musical values that had guided Rush throughout its career. As word of the collaboration began to spread, fans reacted with a mix of curiosity, excitement, and caution. Many wondered whether hearing Rush's music performed again would feel inspiring or simply too emotional. Inside the rehearsal room, however, Alex already had his answer. What he heard wasn't an attempt to erase the past. It was proof that great music can continue to evolve without forgetting where it came from.